Today I'm going to show you 10 of my favorite art techniques and designs that I've made, all in a Christmas and winter theme. From bubbles to landscapes, there's something here for everyone. Please let me know in the comments which one is your favorite, and don't forget you can find all the videos I mentioned in the description or my top 10 Christmas playlist. Number 1. Christmas wreath. Let's start off with a classic design. For this wreath, I actually decided to paint on a round mirror. I coated it in white paint and we are to start. First you begin by alternating darker and lighter green tones. I decided to leave the top of this wreath open, but of course you can make it a closed round design. Now comes the fun part. I took a straw and just blew gently in different directions. Look at the intricate patterns that are formed. Few touch-ups with the end of the brush to make some pokey sections, and one long pull through the paint with a stick I mix my paint with on the other side. Now that the piece is dry, it's time to embellish it. I paint some leftover drips of resin silver and make some bowls out of vinyl. Then I cut them in half and paint red to create some holly berries. Lastly, I make a bow out of flattened vinyl and set the piece behind glass. Now let's move on to something even more 3D. As 3D as it gets, in fact, some delightfully fun bubbles. There's so many different ways to make these, so this could really count as several more points in my top 10. All of these are done with a set of transparent openable bubbles that I bought. Taking the straw blowing technique from the wreath and applying it here, I coat a bubble half in a few layers of paint and blow it out. It looks like a gorgeous nebula or even an explosion. A few lines to highlight the curves and we are good to go. The simplest of these techniques is just pouring paint on top. Choose some nice colors and watch the paint drip and form a unique design. But what do we do with the paint that dripped below? Press some cards onto it for some really cool patterns. I often use these for jewelry. I spray some gold paint inside and draw some golden patterns on for a little extra bling. Potentially the coolest technique involves an acrylic skin. I swipe some paint on a plastic wallet. You can use a silicone mat too. I peel it off, apply glue inside the bubble and stick it in. Don't worry if it rips. You can do it in pieces. On the topic of peeling things, let's move on to number 3, my reindeer design. I paint my background in some wintry tones and then draw my stencil on some Frisket paper. I cut it out, stick it down and we are off to the races. First I seal the edges with a little paint so it doesn't seep under, and then I start splattering some colors. Then I take a wet kitchen towel and start swiping. Look at this satisfying peel. I wipe away any imperfections and add a few extra details using old acrylic skins I have left over. So wintry. There are a couple of other winter animals I made too, and one of my favorites is a robin. For this piece I used the glue gun for some branches, covered them in paint. This actually helps seal the piece. I know you're looking at it and thinking, there's no way it's going to look good. Well, I don't know. And I just had to make a 3D bird to match. I wanted to make it similar to an old paper mache bird I had done in the past, and I chose to use Fimo for the job. I cut out and stuck on a wing, and I used the tip of a scalpel to make some imprints resembling feathers. I covered the branches with a little paint on the tip of my finger, give my robin a warm red belly, and voila! It's so much fun to add 3D elements to your canvas. If you're enjoying, don't forget to leave a like and a comment. I make new tutorials every week and you can watch the full versions of all these techniques and designs I'm making in the playlist linked below. Continuing in the animal fashion, I made a chili penguin piece with an extremely interesting technique, crackle paste. I wanted to capture the intense and intricate patterns of cracked ice like you might see at the poles, and this paste was the answer. First I spread a base layer mixed with some blue paint to act as the ocean below, and once dry I added the magical secondary layer of crackle. To get that icy aesthetic, I sprayed it with white spray paint and this is what it looked like the following day. I decided to populate my icy waters with a pair of penguins made out of all-purpose filler, and I made my water glisten by pouring some resin in the cracks. My final creature creation is a polar bear with a very interesting dip technique. To make it work, I actually use a big piece of plastic, smooth and shiny. I line a couple of layers of paint on the canvas and gently press down my sheet, making sure there are no air bubbles, and then I start to lift it. The patterns are made in the direction you lift, so be sure to think about it while you plan. Then I used an old phone screen protector to lift a few places up that I wanted to improve. Oh, by the way, this design was actually chosen by one of you guys. To celebrate 100,000 subscribers, I chose the comment with the most likes on one of my videos, and then I made it. Please let me know if you would like to do it again. Thanks to you, 500,000 is coming soon. I added some stars and a cute little polar bear to finish this one off. Now you might return to thinking about your Christmas tree at this point. What else can hang on it that's not round? Wooden ornaments. These are so fun and so simple to decorate. I use a combination of swipe and straw blow techniques to make each one unique. Look how nicely these different designs work. I paint the backs, embellish the sides, and coat the designs with some pouring medium to seal. All this talk about decorations, but what about the tree itself? This easy design is one you can try yourself. If you prefer your Christmas trees in the wild where they grow, maybe this design would be more to your liking. I start off by pouring my paint onto the canvas. This time is in long strands. I really want these colors to mix in a specific way. After tilting and turning, it's time to swipe. It looks like a chilling winter wind has swept over the landscape. Then I thought, wouldn't it be cool to simulate some abstract snowflake-like pattern in the sky? So I added a few drops of silicone to some white paint and swiped again. Just look at those cells. Silicone helps create bigger and more cells. I then put some black and white paint into squeezable tubes and I shaped my trees. All of the snow talk. I think I'm turning into ice, much like my Snow Queen. Now this is one of my most popular pieces ever, and it uses similar techniques to my reindeer, but on a bigger scale. I paint my background and create my stencil. Stick it down, seal it, and it's time for my colors. A lot of colors. I make sure to put them down in the direction that I want the hair to go, and I swipe in the same direction. One incredibly satisfying peel later and we are almost done. Few cleanups and I even attached some snow stickers I found and we are good to go. Well, there we are. I hope you enjoyed this look at my favorite techniques and designs that are Christmas and winter based, and they gave you some creative ideas for this holiday season. Please comment below which technique was your favorite, and I'll just remind you once more that you can find all of the videos I mentioned linked below the video and in my top Christmas playlist. If that's still not enough, you can find extended versions of my weekly videos on Patreon with an average of a lot more than 50% extra footage, as well as some of my original art for sale on my website. I wanted to wish you all a Merry Christmas and I hope you have a wonderful week with your loved ones. I'll be taking the next week off as a holiday, and I'll see you all in 2024. So I will also add Happy New Year to all of you. Thank you so much for making this such a wonderful year for AB Creative Channel and myself.